Hey guys, it's Fly here. We're on the ramp at London Luton Airport in our Cessna Skyhawk 172. In this first video, I'm going to show you how to power up the aircraft, taxi, take off, fly around, land, and then we'll be taxiing back here and I'll show you how to power down the aircraft. So let's get started. So I'll just unpause here and we'll start going through the before starting engine checklist. Now my checklists are printed off on a sheet of paper, but for you can press help, kneeboard assignments, then checklists, and you'll have it all here. So to start off with, before starting engine checklist, brakes, test and set. Done. To set it, you press control period. Electronic equipment and autopilot is off. Avionics master switch is off. Fuel selector valve is on both. And that's the end of the before starting. Now on to the engine start checklist. You can either press Control E to do the auto start sequence, or you open throttle to 1/4. Then put your mixture up to rich. Then propeller area must be clear. Master switches on. Auxiliary fuel pump switch on. That's this one here. And then the ignition switch should be started. You can either do this by pressing M+. Or on this key switch sort of thing here, you go to the the plus side, and you hold it down until the engine starts. My engine just started there. You see the RPM just jumps right up. The oil pressure will also go up, and the oil temperature will slowly go up. So now we have to just wait a bit until the oil pressure and the temperature goes up. Meanwhile, we can go through the rest of the start sequence. So oil pressure check, we'll come back to that. Auxiliary fuel pump off, so that's here off. Flashing beacon and nav lights on, so beacon and nav lights are on. Avionics master switch are on. Flaps are retracted. I did that freehand. And we can now go on to taxiing the aircraft. So we can see the oil temperature has gone up, and as soon as we start working the engine, the oil pressure should jump right up for us. So I'm going to change it back. Now the cockpit is on regular cockpit mode. I'm going to change it to virtual cockpit. I find it easier to taxi in this mode. You can, whatever suits you really. And I'm going to start taxiing now. So you just have to release your brakes and begin your taxi. If you don't know the airport very well, you may want to tune into the air traffic control and use the progressive taxi. That could help you get to the runway, but for this video, to keep it simple, I'm not using air traffic control. But in a later video I might show you how. So I know this airport quite well because I usually fly in and out of it on Flight Simulator quite a lot. So I know how to taxi to the runway I want. You may not know, so either go top-down view on the outside view to help you, or you can use, as I said, the air traffic control has a progressive taxi option which gives you arrows to show you how to get to where you need to be. That includes like fuel, gates, parking, and runway. So once we're on the runway, I usually would do the checklists. You can, but for this video I'm not going to because it's a bit time consuming and I want to keep this video nice and short. So I'm just going to taxi straight onto the runway and go through my takeoff. If we were in regular cockpit view, you can sort of see it from this view. You can actually see here that my oil pressure and temperature are going up every time that I push in a burst of engine to keep me rolling on my taxi. So here's the runway, just gotta make a left turn and we'll be on. should be okay for this flight. So I'm going to go ahead and increase my flaps to 1 knot, which is 10 degrees, which is good for takeoff. And that's pretty much it. You just disengage your brakes, increase power. You can use the checklist if you want, and once you've reached 55 knots, you can start rolling. Sometimes I like to go a bit higher, so around 60, but whatever suits you. last, or second last turn, but since we're already quite close to the runway, we're just going to really just make this quite a shallow turn straight onto our landing slope. So just work through the turn slowly and carefully. Maintain this heading for a bit so that we can get nice and lined up with it. At this point I'm reducing power slightly already, and we're a bit high, so I'm also going to put the first increment of flaps. I'm actually going to put 2 increments now. Once we're over the runway and we're quite low, there is something called a flare, which is where you pull back so that your main gear touches down first. This also helps slow you down on the landing. Now, once we landed, I'm going to taxi back to where we started, and I'm going to be showing you how to power down the aircraft. As I said, I know the airport well, so I know exactly how to get to the ramp. So we're just over the runway now, 08. I'm going to reduce power to minimum, or idle. Coming up on flare height, so just pull up, just up to the horizon, so that's approximately 10 degrees. As soon as we touch down, brakes on, and we're going to begin our taxi as soon as possible. Now, I'm not the only person who sees this, there is another aircraft at the end of the runway preparing to take off, so instead of going all the way to the third taxiway, I'm just going to turn around here and go into this taxiway so I can get off the runway as soon as possible. As if the plane takes off and I'm still here, it could be a major problem. So the ramp isn't far off from this taxiway as well, so that makes it nice and easy for us. Just left and right, and that's my ramp. So, for securing the aircraft, you want your parking brakes set, so that's control period again. Avionics master switch, so again I'm going to switch back to regular cockpit view because it makes it easier. Avionics master switch off. Mixture idle cut off. This should switch off your engine completely. you will notice that mine just went off. And then you want to switch your ignition switch to off as well. That's this key again, so you go to the minus side until it's pointing at off, so OFF there. Or you could just press M minus at the same time until it's off. Now then you want your master switches off. Fuel selector valve left or right. Again, this helps prevent the cross feeding. And that's it. Your plane is now secured and powered down. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as I said, the next video will probably be another flight a bit like this one, but in a slightly larger aircraft. Hope you enjoyed it. Please rate, comment and subscribe.